While this was going on, the turf wars situation in Frisco was happening as well, correct?
Correct.
So this is something I want to talk to you about from like a Frisco perspective, because when I talk to OGs, one event that really seemed like it changed the city was the death of Peter Lee.
Right.
Is that a moment in time that you recall?
Yeah. Death of Peter Lee and the death of Chief Charlie. And Ray Sean. Them right there. Yeah, it was ugly. It got ugly around that time, and I was knee deep in it. Me, D folks, my boy Jay, who actually out right now, actually got framed for the murder of Cooley from Sunnydale. So they got life, and they ended up, overturning later on, and had to pay him because Sanders and Hendricks and then was doing a lot of dirty work back then, framing dudes, couldn't solve cases, so they just putting it on dudes. I would have been gone too, when thank God, at the time I was in juvenile, because they were saying that me and JJ did it. They were saying that my brown van was there with his yellow Skylark. But once they ended up checking on the day he died, I was in juvenile at the time, you know what I mean? So I was sitting up in B4, so that's the only thing that saved me, but I'd have been sitting down with him and my boy Soda Pop too. But yeah, Peter Lee that was a big one. You know what I mean?
See, the reason I bring that up is because it seems like that moment kind of changed from when you'll have little rivalries, you might have little fights and stuff here and there, but that situation of them cats being killed and the other stuff you talking about, dirty cops and all these different things, it seemed like things really got serious to the point where some of these beefs are still going on today.
Yeah, it was like you said, it wasn't really nobody dying. At first it was just like you said, we'd be going to Castle Lane, you had fights, dudes pulling out bumper jacks, bats, whatever. You know what I mean? But nobody was ever pulling out, even you might pull out a pistol, but nobody was using it. Just having to pull it out, might shoot in the air, do something like that. But yeah, once Peter Lee and him got killed, it just like, it just started being death. It started being real drive-bys, I mean? It started being real deaths. People really started trying to get us when, I got shot in the eye, lost my eye to, drive-by from Sunnydale dudes, stuff like that. So, yeah, it got crazy.
But what really kind of inspires me about your story, from what I understand, is that not only was music a way to get out of that, it seemed like y'all used music as an opportunity to squash some of the beefs that were going on at the time.
Yeah, we actually squashed the biggest beef, which was with us and Fillmore, and Sunnydale kind of got involved later on after we squashed ours. But that was pretty much me. Once my album came out, I talked to my boy Lonnie Green. He was part of Demons of the Minds, the Strutting Crew. He was Forte dancing, the hype man, or whatever you want to call it. He stayed on Harbor Road, and he kind of brought it to my attention. He's like, Black, bro, you ought to probably reach out. This album is so dope, man. I just think that you need to have Sunnydale and Fillmore involved, bro, and get behind it. Because even at that time, too, when he first heard the demo, I had the song Don't Give Me No Bammer Weed was called Don't Give Me No Bammer Joint. We don't smoke that shit in Hunters Point. And I wasn't even thinking about the city. And when he kind of brought that to my attention, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to switch it up. Because I knew it was our biggest song. As soon as I made it, I knew it was a hit. I was just like, man, I got to switch this up. And I was like, man, I'm going to go on and do that and switch it up, try to get the city involved, make it a city anthem. And thank God I did, because once the album came out, that song was like the lead off, and it just brought it. You'd seen everybody playing it. And at the time, I just told Lonnie, was like, man, I got a few people over there I could reach out to, Pigskins, Creature Man and them. And, man, we can, try to squash it, man. I'll let them know that you want to talk to you if it's cool. And I was just like, at first I was feeling some type of way about it, because I was still young-minded, was, still wanting to funk with him. But then I was just like, you know what, man, we got to make this happen. I was like, go on and reach out to him. And he got him on the phone, we talked, and I was just like, yeah, man, y'all come over to Harbor, it's good. And he was like, yeah, bro, we gonna put this trust in you, man. I was like, man, it's good, you ain't gotta worry about nothing. So I reached out to my boy Nard Temple and a few factors over there who I really had to touch bases with, because I knew I just couldn't call that shot just on my own. I just like, let me holler at a dude from Oakdale. Let me holler at somebody from West Point who I respect and pretty much on the same level as me from where I'm from, you know, because I was with the dude on Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
So they like, man, you got my blessing. This is whatever you want to do. And then once they came through, it was good. You know, we shook hands. You've seen a lot of dudes kind of didn't know what was up when they first pulled up. Dudes coming from West Point, Oakdale, pulling up there, and their cars like, what's going on? Like, you know, they thinking it was funk or something. But we let them know, like, bro, we squashing it. And whoever got problems with anybody from Fillmore, you know what I mean, y'all can go one-on-one or whatever right now. Y'all can scrap it out. And nobody wanted to scrap it out. Everybody, it was good. And pretty much it's been a truce ever since then. You know what I mean? It was trust. Everybody trusted each other. And pretty much, it ended that day. And they came up there deep, too. Fillmore really put their trust in. I could have really set them up.
Yeah. Yeah,
they came up there about like 8 cars, you know, deep. And, came up the Harbor Road, and we squashed it right there, shaking hands, hugging, and it was all good. We was doing the show at the Stone down there on Broadway, and everybody showed up, you know. Us, I believe it was, GLP and them. There was a few other, Forte was there at the show, Totally Insane, and that set it off right there.
That's big.
That was the first time we all was in the same room, and that's kind of like when Sunnydale came in. They showed up, and it was all love. LC, all them dudes, man, a.k.a. El Cheddar now, but all them dudes showed up, and it was all good. It was all love, and not one problem. Nobody got snaked and nothing, none of that after that.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I mean, that says a lot about what our music is, what it represents out here. It's a lot bigger than rap. A lot of the names you just named are legendary people who are not just rappers, people who are legendary for other reasons.
Exactly.
And I think that's definitely something that separates your era of when y'all were coming up to today.
Real talk.
And then also that song, the SFC, did that come out of that as well?
That came out of that too. Later on, because right after that, you know, I got tight with JT and them. A lot of people don't know that I'm the one that helped JT actually press his first album. You know, he came up there. You know, he was with him when they came up there too. He came up there with Pigskins, everybody. He was part of the whole entourage. JT came up there. We got real tight. We chopped it up. You know, music brought us together. And he kind of asked me, bro, where y'all did y'all artwork at? Who did y'all cover? And I took him out there to Music Annex. He came pick me up in his bucket. Me and JT rode off, and I took him out to Fremont, I believe it was. And they had Music Annex. There's to press all the cassettes. And, you know, I could have hated or did anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where they do it at, whatever. But, you know, JT loved me to this day for that because, you know, that set it off. He was like, bro, if you would have never showed me that, man, I wouldn't know where to go get cassettes done at. It would probably, you know, I probably would have found out eventually later on, but that album when it came out in 93. You know,
and now was that the Danker Dope tape?
Yeah. His first album. So I showed him, took him out there, showed him how they do the artwork and all that, and he pressed it up. And from then on, man, we've been, you know, that's been my brother from another since then. That's my dog.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.